Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says Dominica has been removed from a list of countries deemed by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development to be uncooperative in the international business services sector. Dominica was placed on a grey list of countries after failing to implement the internationally agreed tax standard. The grey list was compiled by the OECD of jurisdictions that have committed to the internationally agreed tax standard but has not yet been substantially implemented. But Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says Dominica was removed from the grey list because of measures it took recently.
Some months ago, Dominica, along with all the countries in the OECS and several other countries in the CARICOM, were placed on a grey list by the OECD. And we had to take action towards addressing this. Dominica so far has signed 12 tax information exchange agreements with different jurisdictions, and we are concluding negotiations with the government of Germany and the government of Canada, and hoping over the next week or so we should conclude those negotiations. So this has caused Dominica to be considered to be compliant or cooperating, and we have been removed from the grey list onto the so-called white list as cooperating country, and this is very good for Dominica because one appreciates the negative publicity that one can get if you were placed on the negative list or the black list, so to speak.
Mr. Skerrit says the agreement being signed will give the G20 countries and Dominica the opportunity to work together to fight illegal activities.
The G20 felt in order to fight expatriation of resources from the countries and citizens wanting to avoid taxation in the countries. There are jurisdictions out of those countries, and in order to have a better appreciation for what's happening, it was important for us to be able to sign agreements with those countries. Now, what it would mean that if Dominica were to have an interest in one of its citizens who may have money, say for example in one of the Nordic states, or in Australia, for example, because we signed an agreement with Australia, we could write to the government of Australia seeking information on the activities of that Dominican citizen living in Australia. And of course, the Australian government could also make a request putting to one of its citizens who may have particular information here in Dominica that they would need to have a hold of. So it's another effort towards all of us working together. What we have said to the international community, what we have said to the G20 and the OECD is that there has to be more consultation. Simply imposing your will, as it were, on small island states like ours is not fair at all. Because in many instances, these countries they lack the accurate knowledge and information about our jurisdictions, and they use one brush to paint everybody, and therefore there has to be greater consultation, sharing of information, dialoguing, and let's arrive at a particular position.
Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Acting Assistant Local Government Month Commissioner Glenroy Tuse says he's concerned about the frequent resignation of members. Dominica is observing Local Government Month this month.
Very much so. We are pretty concerned of the frequent resignation because it's costing the state a lot of money for those resignations. When you have to replace particularly elected members, the same machinery that we put in place for the elections of the general election of the village councils, we have to put it for by-election just to select one person. And what we've done, for earlier the month, we had a series of consultations, a series of district consultations taking place in Roseau, in Portsmouth, and at Rosalie. And we emphasized to the councillors that it is really painful to us having to go through, within 3 months of a council election, we have to go for a by-election to select, a person to serve on the council. We have sought our best to try to encourage persons, whatever differences they may have. We are individuals, we have different feelings, we have different beliefs, we have different customs, and some of us think differently, and not because we think differently and any little issue in a council that one has to just quickly go and resign. So these are the issues that we have, and we try to encourage it as much as possible. The question is, how do you address it in terms of the law? It's not something, yes, we are looking at it, but certainly what we can do is try to talk to people, probably even before persons come and tell them that these are the expectations of the councillor. You expect persons to say negative things. You expect, there to be some sort of heated discussion sometimes at council's meeting. And you expect committee residents to say certain things, and you should be able to react in a particular way and not resigning. So that's a concern to us in the department, and we're hoping through this forum as we go through the consultation, as we go through the awareness walk, that will create that sort of an awareness and understanding that persons will understand that, listen, it is not a wise thing to just simply for any petty reason resign on the various council.
Acting Assistant Local Government Month Commissioner Glenroy Tuse. A Dominican has been selected to receive the Caribbean Tourism Organization's Recognition Award of Excellence in New York. Proprietor of the Anchorage Hotel, Dominica's Janice Amo, was selected among 32 CTO countries for her significant and excellent contribution to the development of Caribbean tourism. Mrs. Amo says her lifelong dedicated work in the tourism industry contributed to her success in achieving this goal.
Well, I'm humbled and very thankful for the recognition. It has been a few years that I'm in tourism and I've enjoyed doing what I've done, and to think that I'm still being recognized for it is really an honor for me. Well, I think it's perhaps just a whole lifetime of dedication to it, that I loved it, and I started since '69 I've been involved in tourism. And a lot of it was, I suppose you remember that I did get the medal meritorious medal, I think, for promoting Dominica as an ecotourism destination, because I started way back in the 69, 70s, looking for all the eco things that we do in Dominica and showing it to the tourists. And I'm glad to see that this is the way that Dominica is going. Really, really thankful for that.
Recipients of the Caribbean Tourism Organization's CTO Recognition Award of Excellence, proprietor of the Anchorage Hotel, Janice Amo. She is expected to receive the award on June 11th in New York. Meantime, daughter of Janice Amo, hotelier Yvonne Amo Shillingford, says her mother's achievement is also for Dominica.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to share. I really want to congratulate my mother. I think she's really an amazing woman. She's quite an inspiration to us all, which I think sometimes is a bit daunting, because trying to step into her shoes is an enormous task, as you can well imagine. I think apart from the many accomplishments that my mother has really been able to achieve in her life so far, is the fact that she's done all of this and been a wonderful role model as a mother, as a wife, as a grandmother. She's mentored a number of persons. There has been no mention in terms of the number of persons she's assisted to go on for ongoing professional development, for education, for training of her staff. I think she's recorded as being the hotelier who's really pushed for her staff and all her teams continually be upgrading their skills, And I think I think for me, it's not only special for us in the family, but it's very, very special for Dominica, because among the 32 CTO member countries, which are made up of French, Spanish, Dutch, and English-speaking countries, Mrs. Janice Amo, a woman of the soil of Dominica, has been recognized really has been given special recognition of excellence for her significant and excellent contribution to the development of tourism, not only in Dominica but in the Caribbean. So I, as a Dominican and as a daughter, I stand extremely proud today. And I really do hope that this will show other people, other Dominicans, other persons across the region, that there's a lot of work to be done, and that my mother did not wait for the government or the other persons to move ahead. I think she found niches, she found areas, and she found places that need to be polished, and she went full steam ahead. And I really do think she's left a legacy that makes us all very proud, but also makes us want to work much harder to develop our country as well as the region.
General Secretary of the Public Service Union, Thomas Later, is expressing concern about the low number of road projects given to the Public Works Corporation. Mr. Later says it is unfortunate that the Public Works Corporation is not assigned to any of the major road projects in the country. He says as a result, the jobs of a number of employees at the institution have been affected.
When we look at the number of road projects that are going on, we are somewhat disappointed that in our opinion, the Public Works Corporation is not getting a good bit, or is not getting a share of the pie. And we are concerned because we have different road projects going on, major road projects, the airport, we have one starting in Grand Bay and other areas, and for some reason, I don't know what, we do not see the Public Works Corporation being involved in any major road project in the country. And as a result of that, you have problems where your employees, you're now saying that somebody be your people, you cannot continue to employ them.
General Secretary of the Dominica Public Service Union, Thomas Slater.